Let's do a little crankbait tutorial. We'll talk about how the crankbaits that we use to catch these Lake Erie walleyes changes as the fall progresses. Today is Halloween Day, and so it's still relatively early in the fall, and the water's relatively warm. It's 55 degrees, and so the baits that seem to work a little bit better in these warmer waters tend to be crankbaits like the Reef Runner here, the 800 series, that have a lot of action. What I mean by a lot of action, the Reef Runner has got a lot of this sachet in the water side to side. And when the water's relatively warm, the fish are relatively active, and they do really well. They seem to produce really well. Well, we're in this transition right now where the water's getting cooler, and another bait that has a little bit more subtle action, like the deep Husky jerk here, has been good for us today, and it'll continue to be good throughout the rest of the fall. Instead of this bait having a sachet like this, it has more of a roll like this in the water. So a little bit more subtle action, if you will. And it's a good bait to be looking at when that water is 50, 55, and even a little colder and going down towards the 40s. Now, eventually, they're going to keep fishing these fish until it freezes here. So you get into November, December, even January, eventually the water is going to be in the mid-30s or low 30s. When you get water that cold, you need even more subtle action lures. And what we have here is a Perfect 10, and it's a stick bait. And as a stick bait, it doesn't have any of this sachet. It has just a little tiny roll in it, very little action. And so the progression is higher action lures when the water's a little warmer, lower action lures when the water gets colder, and you have to follow that progression in order to stay on these fish and consistently catch them from October, November, December, and even right up until freeze up in January.